What's going on, guys? We're back with another video today, and we're doing something a little more interesting. I mean, we kind of did something like this, but a bit of an off-season Packers talk. I'm here with Anthony. He probably doesn't like to be called that very often, though.
You just call me Anton or Otto. Yeah. You see me in the comments all the time.
Yeah, he is there a lot. And you can follow him on Twitter at AnthonyJPilot. I don't know if he wants me to keep that in, but I will.
That in. I need followers. I have like 4.
You might gain like 2, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll take it.
We're obviously going to be talking about the Packers because we're Packers fans. And I really don't know how to structure this video, but I suppose we'll start with free agents because that's the hot topic.
Right. I'm just gonna put this out there right now. Randall Cobb, just no way. There's no way he comes back.
See, the thing about that is I don't know if we really talked about it, but where do you think he would fit?
Everyone, obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is New England because they take those smaller slot guys and those quick twitch guys.
That's the thing. Like, the market, you can't really tell, but at the same time, it's so overpriced. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, obviously, teams like the Ravens, they could use pretty much anything they can get. So they could end up stealing him, you know, a few days into it. I don't know, Randall. Like, I know everything's pointing towards us not getting him, but the Packers just can never let go. I don't know why.
The same thing with Clay, I think. We let them both hit free agency, test the market. If they don't like what they get, they come back on very team-friendly deals. Now, I think there's a better chance that Clay ends up coming back, but I don't see Cobb coming back, but I'm not going to 100% rule it out.
See, the thing about that is I think there's a better chance Clay comes back, but I also think there's probably going to be a bigger market for Clay, even though it's a defensive-heavy draft and there's a couple of decent pass rushers in free agency. I just don't, like, Randall Cobb is just, he's been really injury-prone. He really hasn't been consistent. And I don't know, there's just always that.
In week 1, then he gets injured in 2 weeks later.
That's the thing. It was just like his contract year. I remember him playing kind of poorly, and then he played well down the stretch, and he got paid. Like,
what, in 2013?
Yeah, the Packers, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't seem to give our good players second contracts. Casey Hayward. Bashad Breeland. I think we should bring him back. I don't hate the idea of him lining up opposite Jair and, like, Josh Jackson rotating with him because Jackson was, I don't want to say bad, but he looked like a rookie out there a lot this year.
Yeah, there was a lot of times. I can remember Kenny Galladay specifically.
Oh, that game.
Yeah, that was that was very rough.
Bringing Breeland back, I don't think he's worthy of that contract that the Panthers gave him last year. That like 3-year, $30 million contract. But if he could come back on a short-term deal for a decent chunk of change, you know, he played well for us.
We've had a lot of tight ends, by the way. I mean, obviously, technically we don't because we'd have to re-sign them, but we've got a lot of tight ends that don't really fit the team.
Well,
Mercedes Lewis, was he even really playing much? Like,
no, McCarthy.
I saw him out there, but
Mike McCarthy doesn't
very rarely
use tight ends. He hasn't since Jermichael Finley went down. He was stuck with Richard Rodgers. Said the Packers met with Lance Kendrick's agent at the Combine. And I know you follow me on Twitter, so you know how I feel about Lance Kendricks and his inability to catch the ball.
That's the thing about Jimmy Graham is even if you didn't want to bring him back, you kind of have to just with the salary situation, like his contract anyways. What do you so we got Jake Ryan here still?
Jake Ryan is still here. I don't think he comes back either. I don't think we bring back a good chunk of our guys, save for like 3 or 4 maybe. He's another one of those guys that maybe you justify bringing back on a team-friendly deal because he's the best pass coverage linebacker we have. If Warren Burks doesn't step up, what was it, a torn ACL? I don't think we bring him back.
That's the thing with this team. That I mean, obviously we're always injury prone, but the middle linebackers specifically. I remember who was it? I can't remember. He was not really great, but he had an injury right around his maybe first or second year, and he just never played for the Packers again. It was another season-ending injury. I don't know what's going on with that. I can't remember. It was at least 3 to 4 years ago. He was kind of an up-and-comer. I really can't remember his name. But
I couldn't tell you. I usually know that stuff. But
I can't remember his name at all. And then Wilkerson, you have Kentrell Bryce's victim.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Don't get me started on Kentrell Bryce, dude. Don't get me started.
Oh, he's a restricted free agent, speaking of.
Yeah, Bryce is coming back, unfortunately. But Wilkerson, I would love to bring back on a 1 year deal, just like he signed with us this offseason, a prove it deal.
I would not to mention I would say that it'll even be a little bit cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Going into this year. So, I mean, if you don't, I mean, obviously we don't know the numbers specifically because we're not in that room, but yeah, they can get him around what we originally paid him. Yeah, you definitely have to.
There's no way we could keep Tremont at safety this year, right? There's just no way.
Yeah, not a chance. Not a
chance. I'd be furious.
A lot of people were thinking that, oh, maybe he can extend his career. Yeah, it does not fit at all. Like, not a chance.
Doesn't tackle well. We put him back there just because we had no one else. That's really the unit.
Yeah, that backfield, that secondary was terrible. Well, absolutely terrible.
At least Jair. I love him.
He got one guy. Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
That's a great move. Obviously, you're going to compare that to Derwin because it's quite literally the two options. It's really tough in fairness. But however, like going on to free agency, a great segue.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of names at the safety position.
Tyrann Mathieu, Adrian Amos, Earl Thomas, the big fish who wasn't franchise tagged, who I think Brian Gutekunst absolutely needs to go all in on, is Landon Collins.
Oh, yeah, we haven't had a guy like that in ages. Like, just the mentality, let alone the skill.
We had like that. I mean, he's just I call him, it's like a center fielder in baseball. He does everything. He doesn't miss tackles. I don't get why all the Packers fans are saying he's so bad in coverage and they don't want him for that reason. First of all, he's a strong safety. That's not his job.
Yeah.
He's not as bad as people really play him out to be.
Speaking of Earl Thomas, what would you think about Earl? I know the injuries as of late. He's kind of aging, but that's not crazy old for a safety, like, 29, 30. Mm-hmm. The money, I don't think is going to be as much as Landon, which is kind of surprisingly to say, but
he actually came out and said he wants to be the highest paid safety in the league, which I think is just baloney with Collins hitting the market now. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's been a foregone conclusion for a while he's going to go to the Cowboys. I mean, the other safeties rounding out the market, like Tyrann Mathieu, he bet on himself. I wouldn't be surprised if Texans maybe got him back or something. He had a pretty good year for them. Another guy, maybe we go after.
Was he coming off of a one-year deal with the Texans?
He signed a one-year prove-it deal with them and kind of balled out, actually. Adrian Amos, from our rival, the Chicago Bears, signing with the Bears. And I don't know. He wouldn't be an awful player for us. He's another one of those mid-tier safeties. I put him right above, like, the LaMarcus Joyners.
Oh, and you love the ability for him to potentially move down the corner as well as a Packer organization. Jesus, could you imagine? We haven't really talked about inside linebacker through free agency, though, have we?
No, and I think that's a bigger need.
There's a couple of names.
It's a bigger need than a lot of people, a lot of Packers fans are making it out to be. I mean, Blake Martinez, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a game changer. I don't think he's a superstar.
He's got more numbers than actual on-field skill.
I agree. I think he's a good tackler. Doesn't really blitz a lot. When he does, he gets to the quarterback. But pass coverage, he's just hard. And I think probably one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the NFL didn't get franchise tagged either, C.J. Mosley.
Price on him.
He's one of those. His market's got to be huge. He's one of those just every down linebackers. Absolutely balled out with the Ravens. I could see them kind of re-signing him before that deadline. But if he does hit the market, I would say he's another one of those big fish that is going to garner a lot of money. And that's not money that I'm sure Gutekunst would pay.
He's one of the biggest names. You've also got guys a little bit down the list like Jordan Hicks and Quan Alexander.
Oh, I'd love Quan. That'd be a really nice signing if we got Quan Alexander. I think the biggest needs that need to be addressed in free agency and the draft are probably safety, edge rusher, obviously, linebacker, and offensive guard. But there's not many guards.
The guard is rough.
Yeah, there's not many guards in the market. That's something you're going to have to probably hit in the draft, I'd say.
The worrisome part is not even just the amount, but the offensive line position is getting way overpaid like the last few years. It's ridiculous.
Look at Nate Solder. Got that huge payday and just flunked with the Giants. As far as edge rusher goes, I have a few guys here. Justin Houston got released by the Chiefs. I don't know how keen Goody is on bringing in veterans, older pass rushers, but I think he'd be fairly well. I don't think
It'd be an improvement for sure.
I don't think he's a game wrecker. I think he's better than Clay is, but I wouldn't mind bringing Houston. Dante Fowler Jr. No. Just no.
Did he even do anything with the Rams, right?
I mean, he got that. He was the one who hit Breeze on John Johnson's pick in overtime. That's about it. He played all right for them down the stretch. I don't think he's played as well as the going to get because pass rushers are so far in between. Someone's going to pay him a bunch of money to be very average, I think. I could be wrong. You know, some fan of the team that signs him could come back to this video in a year and be like, wow, that Anton guy was so wrong. Dante Fowler's a stud.
Dante Fowler is the best pass rusher in the league now.
I mean, Trey Flowers, another big guy. I can't believe the Patriots didn't franchise tag any one of their big three, and especially Trey Flowers, because I think he's one of the best defensive ends in the league. This is another one of those people I don't think that Gutekunst wants to get in a bidding war for. I don't think he'd extend an offer sheet. I think we go for more towards those lower tier pass rushers, or the second tier, I should say. But if somehow Trey Flowers wants to come to Green Bay, I'm all.
Yeah, that's the thing, because, I mean, obviously we're going to be aiming for a pass rusher in the draft, but at this point you can easily say that both edges need to be addressed. Nick Perry, I mean, we don't even know if he's going to be on the team.
He's on this team in July. If he's on this team in July, Jerome, I'm so upset.
And Clay at this point, I mean, he should be a rotational player, not even a starter.
Oh.
At least for us, he was not. I mean, he hasn't really produced. He's missed so many tackles.
I will say,
I don't know. I mean, he gives it his all.
That's what I was going to say. He still plays with his 100% effort. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at just where we stand right now with Clay's contract negotiations, we're looking at our edge rushers going into 2019, before the draft, before free agency. If he stays on the roster, Nick Perry and Kyler Fackrell and Reggie Gilbert. That is unacceptable to have as a pass rush in the NFL today. Just unacceptable.
Rough.
Another name that's being thrown around a lot with the Packers is Le'Veon Bell, and I don't understand why. We have Aaron Jones, and, you know, I'm not saying he's as great as Le'Veon Bell, but when you're committing so much money a year to Aaron Rodgers, and Le'Veon Bell wants so much money a year, there's just no way, A, we afford it, and I don't think, frankly, that we need it that much.
I mean, last year, I don't even think we drafted a running back in the entire draft.
No, we didn't.
There's a reason. We're very committed to the guys we have. Le'Veon Bell, he's obviously, I mean, he's trying to chase a ring. Everyone is subconsciously, but obviously it's all about the payday.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to take any sort of pay cut to join a contender. And if he was, he'd probably join a team that's a little bit better, has a little bit better of a track record than we do, maybe even the Chiefs, but clearly the money is going to be an issue for a lot of these teams that are top tier. Although the Chiefs, I don't know their cap situation, but
it's not awful.
I would say it's not that bad because they're not necessarily paying a quarterback right now that kind of crazy money.
I imagine Le'Veon ends up a Jet or a Colt. They have the most money in the league, and that's all Le'Veon wants. At least
the Colts would. In fairness, the Colts would be. The Colts would be a nice fit for them. That'd be actually really interesting to see. So I'm kind of hoping he just goes to the Jets.
Yeah.
nice and Jet.
Eric Weddle was released by the Ravens. I just want to add that.
I've seen that as well.
I don't think that's another one of those veteran guys that I'm not sure Gutekunst really wants to bring in. He's a great locker room guy, not a bad safety. He's still got probably a year or so left in him. I don't think he's otherworldly like he used to be, just shut down. But I don't really see him coming to Green Bay either.
I mean, to be fair, I kind of feel like he would fit, but probably at the same time, he is reaching the end of his career. But with a market with so many safeties, I mean, we've seen in the past when there wasn't many safeties, they still weren't even getting picked up that much. But now with all the safeties that are here, a guy like Weddle, a team might get him for extremely cheap. Just because of the fact that he is at the end.
A now contender. I feel like he really wants another ring too.
Do we see the Patriots?
I don't know. Don't they have Chung and McCourty, and they're keeping McCourty around.
They do.
I don't know if they'd sign. See, I could see the Chiefs maybe going for like a Weddle because their secondary could just use all the help it needs. If they don't go for like
maybe
a big safety.
Maybe the
Steelers, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that'd be mean though. He was a Raven.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that happens in that division.
Yeah,
so
there's a few places
it wouldn't surprise me.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he went to one of those, you know, who everyone regards as some of the top 5 teams. Maybe the Rams too. They need a replacement for Joyner. Wade Phillips. That wouldn't be a bad fit. We'll see.
At this point in time, when we lose Cobb, we will be a very tall receiver core.
Yes.
And it would be nice to have a guy to change that up a little bit.
I saw a lot of reports saying Cole Beasley was interested in Green Bay, and I don't know how to feel about that. I think he's a better slot than Cobb is at this point in his career. Just a quick twitch guy.
Well, actually, it makes kind of a lot of bit of sense because we are a huge fan of timing routes. Obviously, we have a new coach, but a guy like him seems like he would be there when you want him to be in a lot of short situations. So I actually kind of would, I never really thought about his name, but that would actually be kind of a decent little neat pickup. The Patriots really didn't keep Trent?
No, the Patriots are letting Trent Brown go.
Do they know the reason for the success of Tom Brady?
I mean, they
protect the hell out of him.
They drafted Isaiah Wynn. He went down with the Achilles. That's the only reason they traded for him, I believe.
True, but I don't know. I don't know if Trent played really well.
Yeah, he'll get a big payday, and he was traded for what, like a fifth-round comp pick?
I thought it was better than that, was it not? It was an okay pick. It was a third round.
Oh, okay. But it was a comp pick,
obviously,
correct?
The Patriots. I have no idea. I would assume either way, even if it wasn't, like, let's be honest, it's the Patriots pick. I mean, to be fair, there are a couple of guys like Shane Ray and Shaquille Barrett. Mm-hmm. I know they're not huge name guys, but are we really expecting us to get two great names to replace Perry and Matthews? I really don't want to see another season of Perry on the outside.
Yeah, I don't think.
I know we mentioned that already, but I'm just hoping Mike Daniels, if we do get a couple of new names at the outside, he can return to that beast role that he had.
Yeah, he's coming off the injury too. You don't know how. I think he'll be fine. He hasn't been injured like at all in his career. He's usually a pretty healthy guy, but I think I think he'll be back to his normal form next year. We hold pick 12 and pick 30 in the draft via the Saints. Thank you, Rams. I will say, I don't think a lot of the guys that I pray we get fall. Guys like maybe an Ed Oliver or Rashawn Gary, some of those really game-changing players on like the D-line. Maybe even
there's a lot of edge rush need on the top of the board this year. Like there's a lot of guys a lot of teams that are going.
I mean,
it's deep, but there's a lot of teams that are probably going to go edge, which sucks. The 1 year quarterbacks aren't really going to be sought after. Not that there's the craziest names in the world, anyways, but
this whole Kyler Murray to the Cardinals thing, I just can't imagine. I don't know. I don't see it, but
I mean, are they gonna just let Rosen just die off that quickly? Like
they could just trying to bait the Raiders or someone
trying to get a trade.
But that's
what I was thinking the whole way, to be honest. But I don't know. It is pushing it there.
It's becoming very cloudy for Rosen's future in Arizona, and kind of shocks me how quickly they're willing to give up on him.
Yeah, because, that Cardinals team was just loaded with talent last year. There was no injuries.
Hey, it was good.
The talent straight out the year. That's true, to be fair. Yeah. That was the worst loss in the world. That was when I literally knew it was over. That was like, all right, see ya.
Yeah, that was bad.
There's a lot of teams that I'm seeing here that could easily go pass rush, and that sucks.
Oh, yeah, the Raiders. The Raiders are probably a big one to grab pass rush. The Jets. The Niners.
You can make a case for the entire top 10 if you really wanted to.
I could see skill position guys going in the top 10. Going in the top 10, and then a lot of edges are going to go. Maybe one offensive lineman, Jonah Williams, and then just a bunch of pass rush going. And the Lions sit at 8.
Rough.
The Lions sit at 8, and they could really use a pass rusher because they're letting Ziggy Ansah go. And I imagine they're like a lock to grab either Devin White or a really good pass rusher.
I'm hoping the Giants go QB, to be honest.
I doubt it. I think, if anything, the Jags jump the Giants and take Haskins. If Murray's not. I don't think Murray would be great in Jacksonville. I think Haskins is more what they're looking for. At 12, it's not like all the talent in the draft is just going to disappear for us. There's still definitely going to be some value picks. I'm not a fan of going for need over best player available. But it just so happens this year that the top players in the draft are almost a lot of them are at edge. So that's going to overlap for us. So I could see us grabbing at 12. Clelin Ferrell might drop. If he drops out of the top 10, that'd be a steal. I don't know. Maybe a Brian Burns later in the round at pick 30 if he's there. There's a lot of possibilities for the Packers.
Probably one of the best years just looking at what we need and what's available going through the entire offseason. This is probably one of the best years for the Packers. So if they come out underwhelming. It is going to be rough. Obviously, you can't guarantee anything through the draft, but we got to get someone through the free agency, preferably safety.
If Devin White's sitting there at 12, and we talked about, Blake's average, he's not phenomenal, he's not bad. Would you snag Devin White at 12? I think that would be phenomenal value for someone of his caliber. How fast he plays, sideline to sideline, is just.
Yeah, I think you have to. Once again, we're talking about Landon Collins haven't had a guy like him. We haven't had a guy like Devin White ever.
We haven't had
it's ridiculous
linebacker in a long time. Like Clay, you could argue early in his career, Clay was a game.
Yeah, probably Clay, honestly.
That inside linebacker, pure leader of the defense.
I think with Devin White, though, I think his career will be so much better if he can be paired up with a linebacker that already has developed. And obviously, we really don't have that. But obviously, I don't think you can pass up Devin White if he reaches that spot. But I just don't see it happening.
I don't see him falling to 12 either. I think it's more likely we end up with one of those, either like the low end first tier or like the high second tier, one of those pass rushers. So like I said, the Rashawn Garys, the Ed Olivers, the Quinn Williams, they'll all be gone. So if we don't bring in like John Brown or Cole Beasley, I'm all for bringing in a wide receiver like a Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown from Oklahoma.
Yeah, he didn't run, and there was a lot of guys that did really well at wide receiver.
Mecole Hardman looks good for like a second-round pick. I will say there was a lot of reports that Ja'Kai Polite, an edge rusher, kind of fits our outside linebacker edge scheme out of Florida, absolutely kind of tanked his interviews, which I didn't see. They said he was just poor in his interviews. His combine wasn't phenomenal. If he somehow slips to 30 or even into this, I don't think he slips to 44. But if Ja'Kai Polite's there at 40 and we can double down on two really good defensive players, I think you have to do it. I think even if we take an edge,
the Packers have loved to do that lately too. So
kind
of have
to cornerbacks.
Plus, who knows? Jimmy Graham could really just shine with the new coach this year.
That's why I don't understand all the
Packers. The drops are rough though.
I don't understand all the. He had a broken thumb. I don't know why everyone's calling for his head after 1 year. Now I got furious at Graham because he would drop everything at some point. It seemed like, and then he'd make some really nice catches.
The money situation would not be great after that. And I mean, I just don't see why you would want to create another need for yourself as well. He's viable. He's viable at the end of the day. But I don't know. I just feel like it would be a bit of a reach. Plus, why not let everyone else take the tight end this year and just snag one next year? Let everyone else do the. Obviously, if someone slips, you got to go best available
in the second round. Maybe an Herb Smith out of Alabama. I think bringing in a young tight end couldn't hurt us at all this offseason, even with Jimmy Graham there, as much as we just talked on it. But besides that...
Would you say that's more of a need than wide receiver at this point?
No, I don't think so. I think even with Gmo coming back, if you have a good value wide receiver there in the second round, you snag him up.
Yeah, especially like we said with this. Obviously this offseason is going to be heavily defensively orientated, so who knows, maybe the defense can carry us a little bit more than past years, obviously.
Well,
obviously that'll take the pressure off a little bit.
This is the offseason where Gutekunst really puts his name on the team. He was dealing with a lot of Ted Thompson leftovers, like Randall, like those guys we mentioned previously. This is really where Gutekunst makes it his team, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah.
So on that note, thanks for having me on, Jerome. I'll be back.
This was great.
This was fun. Maybe we'll do a Packers watch party together, and you can listen to me rage when Clay Matthews gets called for roughing the passer on 3rd and 28.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, can't wait. But thanks for having me on, man. And I'll till next time.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Of course, everyone make sure to follow him on Twitter at Anthony J. Pilot. Almost said my own name because I'm so used to that.
Follow him too at Jeromepkr if you're not following him already.
I appreciate it. It's not self-promotion.
It's not
doesn't
self-promotion.
count.
Someone else does it. And you totally didn't just message me to say promote my Twitter.
Yeah. What? So have you guys heard me, kind of listen to him a little bit more than speaking? It's because I keep forgetting, sometimes when you get into these talker packs, these Packer talks, you kind of just, you're just talking, you're just thinking about things, and you already have all your ideas in your head, so you don't really want to like speak them out as much. So I probably should have spoke a bit more about what I thought about. But obviously, we both watched the team, both have pretty similar opinions. He hit on pretty much everything that I was thinking about. So I really appreciate him joining me. Once again, follow him on Twitter. I would really appreciate it. And yeah. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video,